The MAGA Republicans and the ones that make love to their guns every night have all blood on their hands. Period.
They're called amosexuals, Brian. They're called amosexuals.
I just want to share my opinion on everything going on, and I feel like we approach the topics that were just covered. One, I feel guns are not necessarily a bad thing. It's the people who use them wrong. I feel like guns are not bad or good. I feel like when it comes down to it, I'd rather have a gun than have no gun when police or any government just decides to say, all right, fuck the people.
Oh, watch the language. Watch the language.
Yeah,
you can't swear on this show.
Sorry.
Yeah, no curse
Okay,
words.
hold on a
Sorry.
second. Hold on. Let's backtrack a little bit here, Matthew. So you're totally okay with an 18-year-old with no training going into a gun store and buying thousands of rounds of ammunition and a couple AR-15s. Are you totally okay with that?
No.
Okay.
What I mean is,
Okay.
I'd rather have responsible people own them.
But when we're how do we do a better job with that?
Who determines who's responsible?
Right.
Because right now
guess
they're
we
selling
have
them to
to-
everyone who legally can buy them, and in some states, very young people, and as many guns as they want, as many rounds as they want. So I think what Brian was trying to say, he's trying to press on the fact that we need to have some regulation. We need to have some common sense laws. But if you can't get one side to agree to even the simplest law, even the lowest level law, then what are you supposed to do? That's what I'm saying. That's what I said to Marcia.
I guess in my opinion would be, it can't just be up to the government. I guess you'd have to start from the families and hopefully teach from then on responsibility. I feel like everything starts.
I don't trust people, but I don't trust.
Yeah, but you have to have licensing to influence people.
Matthew, why do we need assault weapons in society? Why do we need that? And I'm not talking about
assault weapons. I'm not talking like that high. I'm talking like maybe a handgun for every person.
I've never ever said on this show that I don't think if you're not a non-felon that everybody should have the right to defend themselves. I disagree with the other caller in getting rid of guns altogether. I just don't think that's not logical.
It's not a good place.
But at the same time, we shouldn't have these types of assault weapons. We should have a better way of checking if people are mentally healthy enough to have a gun. And let's be honest about this. The reason why we have so many guns in this country is the same reason why, in my opinion, we don't have a cure for diabetes. We don't have a cure for cancer and other diseases. I believe we could have a cure, but it's money.
There's no money in it.
Too much money. There's so much money when it comes to guns, and there's so much money when it comes to these diseases that we suffer with in this country. And I really do believe, and I'm not trying to be Alex Jones on you corrupt government, but I really do believe that's the reason why.
No, money's greed. It corrupts everything. I completely agree with that. And I feel like as people get more money, they tend to lose the focus of
the NRA.
Why the hell's that?
The NRA donates millions and millions of dollars to their lobbyists, and they're all over the legislature in Washington, D.C., and they have a lot of influence.
No doubt. I appreciate Go ahead. Before we let you go. Go ahead.
Can I just say my last piece? Sure. I just feel this is so sad. I feel like they should outright ban that. And second of all, I feel like the reason they don't want a common man like you, me, anyone out there running for anything is because they know someone out there will be morally not corrupt and they will change the game.
Yep.
But sadly, they only allow the rich people to run, and that's a sad
Thank
fact.
you, Matthew.
I think it's very well said, and I appreciate your call, Matthew. Thank you very much. I talk about gun control a lot on this show, Leonard, and you're one that knows a thing or two about guns. You have a concealed carry, and you're a former lieutenant, a police officer. You were trained on how to use guns.
I have. Let me just interrupt. I have thousands of hours of training.
Right.
And until you start to have some serious training, you don't even understand how the laws apply and how dangerous a firearm actually is.
No question about it. And we certainly don't have enough in society when it comes to, it doesn't make any sense to me that when you drive a car, well, it makes sense, but when you drive a car, you have to have an instructor, you have to pass a test and I know driving a car is a privilege and having a weapon is, your constitutional right. I get all that, but it should be very similar to getting your license where you should have to re-register your gun. They have to make sure your health is intact, your eyesight and all that stuff. They don't do any of that stuff. And it's sick. We live in a sick society where Americans are obsessed with our guns. And because of that obsession, Things happen to people like what happened to Charlie Kirk, what happens to very young children in school. It's awful.
Can I mention something on that? Because Crystal in the chat mentioned that it wouldn't have saved Charlie Kirk, and I understand her position, but you have to do something. We can't just sit back and go, oh, well, it wouldn't have helped in this situation. And, oh, well, he had his dad's hunting rifle. I understand that. But what Brian is saying is you have to start to take steps forward to protect people.
Anybody who says something like that and makes a generalized statement like that, I find that to be reprehensible. I don't know if there are any laws out there that would have prevented Charlie Kirk from being assassinated. But here's what I do know. And to kind of explain to what Leonard was referring to, which I agree with, we can't just put our hands in the air and say, oh, well, bad people are going to get their hands on guns. There's nothing we can do about it. I list 5 or 6 things every time we talk about gun control on this show. And I'm not saying that it would end all the gun violence in this country, but I can guarantee you it would lower the gun violence. I've talked about raising the age from 18 to 21. I've talked about a 2-hour class that you have to take, the basics on how to shoot a gun and how to store a gun. I've talked about re-registering your guns. I've talked about stronger laws if you're caught with an illegal gun or you sell an illegal gun.
Background checks.
I've talked about comprehensive background checks. I've talked about the loopholes at some of these gun shows. Just give me 2 of those, and I guarantee you gun violence will go down. And MAGA Republicans want to make it sound like all the gun violence is gang violence and black-on-black crime. Again, the 3 people, 2 of whom tried to assassinate Donald Trump, and the person who assassinated Charlie Kirk are white men. 2 out of the 3 we know for sure were Republicans. Okay.
And as you know, there's a big list, Brian.
Yes.
If we could go on and on, there's a big list of names that we can name.
Yes. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Casey is next up on PTL. Hey, Casey, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hi, boys. Aloha from the new open carry in Florida. Our great, our famous drag queen, Rhonda Santos, now has made it to where you can go to Publix, our local grocery store, and have an AR-15 strapped to your belt. But the flip side of the coin here is that from what they're saying is, if an establishment says, even though we're open carry here in Florida, and an establishment says you're not allowed to have your open carry, and you still consistently try to bring it into that establishment, it is a felony. All right.
If it's posted on the outside, that would be breaking the law.
Right. It will be a felony. But, you know, we're the only country around the global world that has these gun massacres. North of us, our brothers and sisters up in Canada are laughing at us.
Nevada, I live in Nevada. That's an open carry state. Right here in Nevada, you can walk around with a pistol on your side, and you can go shopping at Walmart or Kmart, or you can go just about anywhere you want.
But why is Canada living civilized? They're north of us. They play video games. They're living civilized. Why are they not having this problem? Because here in the United States, okay, and it started with the Bundy standoff, conservatives are scared of their own shadow. They want to stockpile all these guns so they can. That's how we take on the government. They want this civil war in this country. And the first time, if you remember, was that Bundy standoff when those rednecks. Yeah. Remember with the cattle grazing that the government was trying to give them a bill for their fees, and they said, "Oh, we're not paying this." Remember the Bundy standoff? That was the first time that these conservatives have an opportunity to take on our government, and they won. And then you got January 6th. It was in testimony. They didn't have them on the property there, but they had them in the hotels. They were packing to the gills. They want this flex. They want to be able to. They want to take on our government, and they won. That's the saddest thing. In Parkland, when we had the Parkland shooting, the father looked right at Marco Rubio the 2 days after and asked him, "How can you take money from the NRA?" And Marco Rubio couldn't even look him in the face.
No, he just passed on the question. He didn't even answer it.
Right, you remember that, fellas?
Yeah. He changed the subject, and he didn't really answer, and I thought it was embarrassing.
What we need to do is modernize the Second Amendment to fit the 21st century. And unfortunately, my boys, and I'm older than you, will never see it in our lifetime because they don't want to fix the problem.
Listen,
They
you're
don't
right.
wanna
Yeah,
fix
one
it.
half has no
Listen,
interest.
two quick points on what you made. First of all, when a bunch of children get massacred in a school, and then you have Republicans in office in Congress that show up in D.C. with AR-15 pins, there is no hope for America. I will also say that I've never heard, maybe you guys have, but I've never heard of a Democrat running for office in their campaign ad brag about their A-plus rating from the NRA. There's only one party that does that, and that's the Republican Party, and they care more about their A-plus rating from the NRA than our children being gunned down in schools. And then when they are gunned down in schools, besides saying thoughts and prayers, you'll have idiots like Ted Cruz say, well, we need to harden our schools. We need to give our kindergarten teachers AR-15s. We need to make sure that the back door is locked. That's what the Republicans do after these mass shootings. But you see, after Charlie Kirk is killed, they certainly still don't talk about gun control, but they blame the radical left. Well, let me say this to all of you right now. The reason why we have so much, not all of it, but so much gun violence in this country are because of MAGA right-wing Republicans that are cowards who think more guns make you safer, and they lie so they can get their A-plus rating and that they can remain in office. The Republicans have blood on their hands. Democrats have been trying to work with Republicans on this for decades, unsuccessfully to no fault of their own. The MAGA Republicans and the ones that make love to their guns every night have all blood on their hands, period.
They're called amosexuals. Brian, they're called amosexuals. You know why they wore those AR-15s on their lapel shirts when Lauren Bogue and all them? It's because they like to antagonize. We are owning the libs. Let's make the libs cry. It's not. These are the fun-loving Christians, my boys. These are the fun-loving.
Well,
Christians.
I have heard that Lauren Boebert likes to play with somebody else's gun during a Beetlejuice play. I did hear that rumor. I don't know if that's true or not.
Republicans are super afraid of tyrannical government until they vote it in, and then all of a sudden they're all in favor of it. You know.
Yeah.
So it's obviously it's an irony there. Hey, Leonard, what is the effective range for an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle?
Well, a lot of it depends on what kind of apparatus. Do you have a scope? Do you have a laser? Are you shooting with iron sights? But with an AR-15, you can probably go, the maximum range is probably 400 or 500 yards. But the rounds that they've been using in the Charlie Kirk, the 30-06, and it looks like this recent shooting with ice was possibly an 8mm. That's not a fact. But those are heavy rounds that can go several hundred yards.
So the reason I bring that up is that these people talk about up-armoring schools and whatever, or limiting access points and things like this. And somebody with an AR-15 and a scope or a little bit of background could sit there how far away and shoot a bunch of kids as they're exiting the schools anyway, and nobody could stop them.
Well, with an AR-15, a couple hundred yards is not really a difficult shot with an AR-15.
Right.
That's pretty effective range.
Yeah, so these people talking about, well, we just need more armed security, et cetera, you know what, that's just idiotic. And the third point is that when we did have a semi-automatic ban, that kind of violence went down, showing it works. And one other quick thing, the number of guns in this country isn't spread evenly among the population. I noticed that many of these mass shooters end up with 20 or 30 guns or even more.
Oh, you're right.
You know, there's
you're right.
Right. It's not one gun for every person. Some people have, 15, 18, 20 guns in their house.
Mark, we're running out of time, so sorry to cut you
Thanks,
short
Mark.
there.